I've really learned like the best environment you can create for, especially for women, is safety. Safety, bro. Like, and I think men underestimate this like massively. Like, even psychologically, statistically studied, women and men experience fear extremely differently. Extremely differently. Women are more prone to phobias. They're more prone to PTSD. They experience fear on a regular basis. They experience fear just walking to their car. They experience fear daily for a lot of women. Men don't experience fear as often as women. It doesn't affect men as often as women, etc., etc., etc. So that's why, even down to the smallest things, if you walk on the side of the sidewalk that's closest to the traffic, you create safety. Those little tiny things make a massive difference. She will notice that, because if she feels safe around you, that changes her entire perspective. That changes her entire life. Because when a person can feel safe, that's when they're allowed to step outside of themselves. That's when they can let their guard down. That's when they can step into feminine energy. That's like when you can provide safety. And I'm telling you, safety for a lot of guys, they put it as just physical. They just think because they've got muscles or because they can fight or because they've got money, just physical and financial. But safety also includes mental safety and emotional safety. And I think a lot of us men fall short when it comes to the mental safety and emotional safety. And you can't provide safety if you are not skilled in that area. That is the key. Yeah, right? So, because you can provide financial safety if you've got access to finances. You can provide a sense of physical safety if you've got that physical safety capability, right? But if you don't have the facilities emotionally and you don't have the facilities mentally, you can't provide any sort of safety or stability. That's where I think a lot of women also fall off with men as well, and they start talking about, oh, they don't want to be with men's moms or men's therapists, because some men are trying to work on these areas, but they're not skilled, they're inexperienced. Men are up against it when it comes to those types of things, because society doesn't ever encourage men to build those muscles. And so when they start trying to step into those skills, there's a lot of inexperience, there's a lot of wounds, there's a lot of bullshit, and so it's just really messy, and it just ruins their relationships. And a lot of men will attest, like when I tried to open up, she just used it against me. It just made everything bad. But here's the thing, it's how you open up as well. Because if you're opening up really, really experienced and really, really inexperienced and really, really toxically, of course it's not going to be met very well. But if you've got a better grasp of these things, if you have ownership over these things, guess what? It's not going to be met that same way. I've not had women use much against me. I had them use it against me when I was still wounded, when I was still inexperienced, when I still didn't have ownership over my wounds. But when I had better ownership over my wounds, here's the thing. When I share something with you now, like if I share with you like, yo, I cheated in my past, or I used to cut myself, or I used to burn myself, when I share those things now, you can't hurt me with that shit because I own it. I have ownership over it. How can you hurt me with something that I own? Like, if you try to use those things against me, that's a you problem. And I know that you're not the type of woman that belongs in my life. Because if you can't handle me from my past, if you can't accept me from my past, if you can't support me in my past, then you don't belong in my future. It's pretty simple. If you even try to use that shit against me, you're gone. And ladies, I hope you can also hear that and be accountable for the other side of that, and understand that, yeah, maybe this is like, your man isn't very skilled in those areas. Maybe this is the first time he's allowed himself to open up. You could be the first person he's allowed himself to open up. And so those muscles are really weak. So imagine going to the gym for the very first time. Like if you've never been to a gym before with a guy, and then he takes you, and you're really inexperienced, you don't really know much about it, and you do something that wasn't quite right and it hurts, or you drop the dumbbell and it lands on his foot, and then he just uses it against you, and he starts insulting you, he starts really making you feel really, he's really condescending, he makes you feel really incapable, because he's like, well, I can do this stuff, I can lift this weight, you should be able to do it. I can do that, well, you should be able to do it. Look, and there's a lot of women who do that emotionally to men. There's a lot of women who do that emotionally to men. Well, I went to therapy. I did this. I did that. A guy should be able to do it then too. It's not that cut and dry. Stop expecting other people to do things just because it's something that you've been able to work on. It's something that comes more naturally even to you, possibly. Or it's something that you've been encouraged in, or something that you're more allowed to do by society itself. Extend the same grace. Extend the same grace, man. He's got to feel safe with you too. If he's going to build that, if you actually want to encourage a man to build himself emotionally and build himself mentally, he needs to know that he's safe with you. And yes, there might be a period of time when you play his therapist. Just the same as there would be a period of time when he would play your personal trainer in the gym. If he has the gym skills and you do not, guess what? Yeah, he's going to have to suck that up and teach you some things. Why wouldn't he be happy to teach you some things? If it's something that you are saying that you want to work on, he'd be more than happy. A good partner would be more than happy. So if he's saying he wants to work on his emotions and he wants to open up with you and you're being like, well, I don't want to be your therapist. Like, you're just being shitty. You're just being a bad partner. You're being a bad partner. So I really hope that ladies, you can also understand the accountability that exists on your side as well.